As we begin our service today, I'm going to ask that we turn off or silence all cell phones and electronic devices. Thank you.
Ma'ayan HaChayim, wellspring of life. We come together today to commemorate the life of Bert Lipitz. You saw just a few moments ago, I tore the ribbons for Farah and for Roberta. These are their symbols of mourning. When you get to see them up close later, you'll notice that despite the cut of the ribbons, I don't tear them all the way up, all the way across. Because still at the core of the ribbon is their life with Bert. The memories, the life, the love, everything that held them together is represented, as well as the loss, by wearing these ribbons. So first, I do acknowledge Roberta. 53 years of marriage. Kinahara. I'm sure there were years at one time of health. I know it was a time of great travel. A lot of stories of places that you've been, the two of you, knowing that this was such an important part of your enjoyable lives, especially after he completed his work life as a veterinarian. Yes, he taught and great meaning and substance from that, but gave you the flexibility to do all that you wanted with your family. So we acknowledge Farah, who's here with Robert. We also acknowledge Alexa, partnered with Kayla and Kira, the grandchildren, the ones who feel probably the most neglected, the ones who need more of your support, more of your stories to propel them, to inform them of his life and the younger life especially that many of you may have experienced with him. Oh God, we've come together sharing our sorrow to commemorate Bert's life. We recall the blessing of his life. We thank God for all that was good and true in his life, and for the precious memories which shall endure. Eternal God, his family are bowed in grief and seek light to dispel the dark gloom that threatens to overwhelm them. Be gracious to those who mourn, for they are in distress. Bless them with your compassion. Ease their burden of sorrow. Send them light and peace. As it is written, fear not, as I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will sustain you with my power. And let us say, Amen. I now read the traditional text of Psalm 23, an excerpt in Hebrew and an interpretation in English. Mizmor LeDavid, Adonai ro'i lo echsar, benodesha yarbitzeni, al mei menuchot yenachaleni. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. God has me lie down in green pastures. God leads me beside the still waters and guides me on the paths of righteousness. God revives my soul for the sake of God's glory. Though I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no harm, for you are with me. Your staff and your rod do comfort me. You set the table in sight of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall abide in the house of the Lord forever. There's a text that I share with many members of my congregation, indeed my own parents. This is a text from the doctor and Rabbi Ben Sirach, who understood the realities of life, a life filled with discomfort and pain, and then the closure that comes with its conclusion. In translation, his words are, from Ben Sirach, "We are all destined to die. We share it with all who ever lived, all who ever will be. Hide not your grief. Cry for the dead. Do not restrain your mourning. But remember that continuing sorrow is worse than death. When the dead are at rest, let their memory be a source of peace, and be consoled when the soul departs. Death is better than a life of pain, and eternal rest is better than lingering illness. As a drop of water in the sea, as a grain of sand on the shore, are our few days in eternity. The good things in life last for a short time, but a good name, a good reputation, endures forever." As I came in, I was sitting on the other side, I heard some of the joy that you shared with each other upon meeting each other, the comfort that you offer to each one another, but also the sadness of what brings you to this place this day. That spectrum of belief and thought and emotion is reflected in the book of Ecclesiastes. For everything there is a season, a time for every experience under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot what is planted, a time to tear down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to grieve and a time to dance, a time to throw stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to discard, a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak. Indeed, I appreciated the conversations I had with both Roberta and Farah yesterday. And Farah sent me some text as a reminder of items to be welcomed today. And I'm honored to share them again. Stand by. These are Farah's words that I am sharing. "My dad had a creative side, most memorably from my childhood, when he wrote scripts for plays and commercial spoofs starring himself and his beloved family, filmed on his video camera," which I might add he got very early in the video camera life. "The piece de resistance was without a doubt Horror on Hart Road, with a close second being the portrayal of Orson Welles in a Paul Masson wine commercial during the Super Bowl." That was something like "no wine before its time." That was his text. He self-published his autobiography 20 years ago. There was a minimum order of 200 copies, so just about everyone he knew or even had just met were given a copy. Who here has a copy already? Okay. He loved sharing stories, so I will treasure his autobiography forever. Of course, it ended 20 years ago. He had still full life since then, since so many are captured in one place. If you didn't notice, this is now Farah saying, we put out 6 remaining copies of his book. So take one. If he never had a chance to share it with you, you won't be disappointed. It'll be easier for them not to schlep them home again if you take them as well. So he and Roberta were active at the JCC, the couples club, and he enjoyed racquetball. In fact, I met a gentleman here who was playing racquetball with him. Is he not in the room at the moment? You, in addition, it was somebody else who also had a grayish beard. Okay. He also loved the Eagles, which is harder and harder to do right now. But it means he withered and weathered the storm of years of defeat, but still remained loyal to the team. He graduated Auburn as a veterinarian, and even after retirement of his private practice, he still taught in veterinary programs, including Camden County and others. He loved history. This is a well-rounded individual that you remember. Many different kinds of interests and ways of engaging in life. From the Psalms. I lift my eyes to the mountains. What is the source of my help? My help comes from Adonai, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way. Your protector will not slumber. See, the protector of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. God is your guardian. God is your protection at your right hand. The sun will not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. Amen. I'm going to offer a prayer in a moment that's known as El Malei Rachamim, God the compassionate one. Even at times of sadness and sorrow, we turn to God for strength. We determined that Bert's Hebrew name was Baruch ben Yaakov. Baruch is blessed one, the son of Jacob. And this prayer will engage and use his Hebrew name. I ask those who are comfortable to kindly please stand. El Malei Rachamim, Shochen Bamromim, Hamtzei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei HaShechina, B'ma'alot Kedoshim Toharim, K'zohar HaRakia Ma'asirim, Et Nishmat Baruch ben Yaakov, Shalach L'olamo, B'gan Eden Tehei Menuchato, Ana Ba'al HaRachamim, Hasti Rehu B'seter Kanapecha L'olamim, Utzror b'tzror ha'chaim et nishmato, Adonai hu nachalato, v'yanuach b'shalom ha'mishkavo v'nomar, Amen. O God, exalted and full of compassion, grant perfect peace in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure to the soul of Bert Lipitz, who has gone to his eternal home. Master of mercy, we beseech you, remember all the worthy and righteous deeds that he performed in the land of the living. May his soul be bound up in the bond of life. The Lord is his portion. May he rest in the tranquility of shalom, of peace. And let us say, Amen. Kindly be seated. The interment will take place at the Locust Wood Cemetery on Route 70 in Cherry Hill. Any potential donations in Bert's honor be made to your individual choices and will be appreciated. Thank you. Volech tamim tzedek v'dover emet lavvo, lo ragal al shono, lo asal re'ehu ra'a, v'cherpa lo nasa al krovo, nizder einav min'as, ve'et yirei Adonai yichabed, v'yishpal harav lo yamir. Kasol lo lekan ha'neshech, chad al nakido v'tach, ose ele, v'yimot ve'olam.
Everyone, this does conclude the funeral service at the chapel today. Thank you very much. We are going to, as Rabbi said, return it will be at Workers Memorial Park. But once more, Shiva will be 4 p.m.